Welcome back to the Lost Cause Ranch. That is correct. The LR4 let me down. Or I guess I should say, I let the LR4 down. This thing has been the workhorse around the ranch. It has done all the dirty work, hauled everything. But last year we were driving it and we had a little bit of a coolant loss in a place that we couldn't exactly pull over fast enough. And I got it a little hot. We remedied the leak, but a year later, it appears that we must have nicked a head gasket in that little expedition. And unfortunately, we are now seeing some symptoms of that day, which led to quite possibly the stupidest thing I've done in my automotive career. See, I've been working on cars for more than 20 years, and this was a first. Like I've always said, I'm the dumbest person I know. So recently, I've been experiencing some goofy coolant issues. We'll call them issues. Loss and extra pressure in the cooling system. Well, I went ahead and pulled the cap off the expansion tank, or attempted to, and this happened. Luckily, 2 weeks later, we're starting to look in good shape and no long-term effects, but really dumb nonetheless. The warning on top of the cap, turns out it's real. See, the problem there was complacency, if that's the correct word. On the newer systems without the old school quarter-turn cap directly on the radiator, you can usually get away with opening this guy up while warm and bleeding off the little bit of pressure that's in there. But I say usually because if you happen to have a bad head gasket, there's way more pressure in there via the compression from the engine, and it goes off like a geyser. I was a tad mad at that guy and went ahead and bought something to replace it. That is right, we got ourselves a 405, and not just any 405. We got ourselves one with the 510 horsepower supercharged V8 under the hood, because the only way to properly replace the beloved LR4 for daily driver duties is with way more power. Although realistically, it's probably a little too bougie for me. Now don't worry, the LR4 is going nowhere. We had some, I guess we'll call it upgrades, in process already before all this happened. And those upgrades involve the body coming off, which I guess is semi-convenient, being that's the best way to replace the head gaskets on these guys. All this did was just accelerate the replacement process, and what the replacement it is. This guy right here is what I'm gonna call the best value 405 that was on the market. Many of you guys know Troy from Addicted Motors. I got a hold of him, and what I did was put him on the hunt for an LR4 replacement. He likes to do his little Rover roulette, risky auction buys. I figured we should get in on some of that fun. So I put Troy on the hunt for a Discovery 5, L322, Range Rover Sport, or an L405. Just something different that we don't have. I mean, I really wanted a new Defender, but apparently we just have full-size supercharged Range Rover money around here. And in no time, this is what Troy found. I mean, I literally think from the time I told him to start looking to this showing up in Iowa, shipped all the way from Arizona, it was less than a week. That's Amazon quick. But what we have here is a 2015 full-size Range Rover with the supercharged 5-liter V8 under the hood. And not only that, this is a one owner with just 92,000 miles. This wasn't necessarily the cheapest L405 out there, but we're gonna call it the best value. Finding one under 100,000 miles, V8 supercharged, one owner, finished in the classic Aintree green with our painted silver hockey stick stripe. This thing is just freaking cooler than cool. I am gonna miss driving this every day, but I think I can get used to this. That, and we're moving up into the world of spinning knobs. I'm gonna be spoiled. Massaging seats. On the Rover Ball video, people were asking if I were to do it again, what would I take? I think this would do. After having this for a little bit, I'm thinking Paul from Autobiography Garage, who took his 405 on the Rover Ball, was probably right. Now, being it was one of the cheaper ones, it did come with a couple hickeys because of that. We got the driver's door here, and on the passenger side here, it appears to have been someone's favorite place to open their door into, all the way down. We're gonna see what we can do about everything. But all in all, there's really not much wrong with this thing. I mean, that guy definitely isn't gonna buff out, but you know what goes there, so that guy ain't gonna matter. This side turned out great. Pretty much all the door dings are gone, and this color is going to look fantastic after we do a full paint correction and throw a little ceramic on it. But before that happens, we're gonna have my PDR guy look at this. No matter how much buffing I did, that crease is still there. Inside is overall in pretty good shape, minus what appears to be some ill effects from the combination of tanning oil and sun. At least that's what I'm going to say it is. We'll refinish the leather on both front seats and get that back up to shape. Although I'm not terribly concerned about it, because like I said, this is replacing the workhorse LR4, so there is going to be dogs in the back and whatever else we find to throw in there along the way. But this thing is awful fancy. We have rear heated and ventilated seats, a tailgate that power opens the top and bottom, and even cooler, power closes it. Like I said, too bougie. But not only did it fit the bill with the miles, condition, big horsepower, it also came from Arizona, which means it is freaking spotless underneath. And being from the Midwest, where we love road salt, that is an awful big deal because we don't like to deal with problems like that. Being we use the LR4 for all our heavy lifting, we also needed one with the factory tow package. So we already have our hitch, our wiring, and we are one pigtail and brake controller away from having this thing all set up to take over those duties, because the only thing possibly cooler than Land Rovers towing Land Rovers is 500 horsepower Range Rovers towing Land Rovers. And being as I no longer have a dealer's license, in Iowa we also have to factor our registration cost. If the vehicle is 10 years old or newer, yearly we have to pay 1% of the original list price. But being this is a 2015, we're past that and we pay just $50 a year to register it. So instead of $1,000+ a year, it's just $50. You guys know I'm cheap. Now, coming from the LR4 that we lightly upgraded with some key little modifications to help it off-road, we can't just leave this guy stock. We already have some stuff coming that's going to change the altitude, and we need to downsize from the 21-inch wheels. Although with the massive brakes, I'm not sure how much downsizing we can do. I have a set of 20s ready to go on, but I want to stretch that even further. That coupled with all the equipment that we just added into the car wash, I think we're gonna be able to push the boundaries on the 405 a little bit and do some things that typically aren't seen on a full fat Range Rover. But either way, I want to thank Troy. He was able to get this done in a super quick fashion. Being it's a new vehicle to us, we're going to run a diagnostic scan on it. We have an intermittent airbag light. Seems like that only pops on half the time of starting it up. Other than that, mechanically, it seems all right. But obviously that opinion could be flawed because I haven't driven the thing at all and have only had it for a couple days. I actually don't have a whole lot of faults. Now it's quiet on startup, but we do have 2 faults in the engine, and we're at the miles where that could be bad. Neither of those are a concern. ABS module, open voltage, not worried about that. Restraints control module, let's see what's going on with the airbag. Permanent left side airbag deployment control. Most of that stuff could have just been voltage related. It was at an auction, could have been sitting for a minute. We're gonna do a quick erase. All right, so we got a clean slate and we'll see what pops back up, like the airbag. So we'll have to dig into that. But I think we should take our maiden voyage. So far, so good. It's not registered yet, so we're going to not do anything too crazy, but I think I could get used to this. Just realized we also have lane track and blind spot. So far, I'm gonna have to say this is a pretty damn good purchase. And speaking of recent purchases, we kind of got both ends of the spectrum in the last week. Lightweight to full weight. But either way, appreciate you guys watching, appreciate you subscribing, and stick around because we are going to get a super in-depth look at the underpinnings of an LR4 when we rip the body off it. We're also going to see what a 405 can do. Come to think of it, I also don't think 510 horsepower is going to be enough.